Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is John Perez, Deputy Chief with the Pasadena Police Department. It's my honor to welcome you to the 2016 Pasadena Police and Fire Memorial. Today we will honor the brave men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice so that we may all enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So please join me in welcoming our Mayor of the City of Pasadena, Mr. Terry Tornick.
Good morning. Welcome to Pasadena. Most of us go to work every day and have a pretty predictable day. This morning's event reminds us that that's not necessarily the case for our police and firefighters. And frankly, it would be better if we didn't have to have a day like today. But it's important that we do. And I'm very grateful to those that have been involved in organizing this event, and I'm especially grateful to all of you that have attended and to the families who are directly related to what we are reminding ourselves about today. So on behalf of the City of Pasadena, the City Council, and all of us that rely on the services that are provided by our first responders, I welcome you here today and express gratitude to those that have been involved in making this possible. With that, I will ask you all to rise for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem. Remain standing. And I'm going to introduce Allison Crawford, who will amaze you with her wonderful performance. Thank you.
Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order, arms. Honor guard, up now, face. Honor guard, forward, march.
Please be seated. It's now my pleasure to introduce our chiefs, Chief Philip Sanchez, and Deputy Fire Chief John Troutwine.
Good morning, and welcome to the 2016 Pasadena Police, Fire, and Memorial Ceremony. This year marks the 5th joint gathering as a public safety family to honor those Pasadena first responders who valiantly served their community in the line of duty. They made the ultimate sacrifice to safeguard and protect all who live in, visit, or work in Pasadena. There is no doubt that as first responders, your life is at risk daily. Assaults on police officers seem to occur at a greater frequency these days. According to the Officer Down Memorial, nationwide, 35 law enforcement officers have been killed or have died in the line of duty in 2016. The number of deaths represent a significant decrease from last year's total. Nevertheless, the profound sense of loss regarding a fallen warrior represents the sharp contrast to public concern focused on contemporary policing. Of the 35 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty, 33 were males. 17 were killed by gunfire, and 14 were killed while operating a motor vehicle. Pasadena police officers are not immune to violence. All too frequently, they encounter armed suspects in our community. Since January of 2011, the Pasadena Police Department has seized or taken into their custody more than 1,200 firearms, shotguns, assault rifles, and a submachine gun. Each firearm in the hands of a gang member or a predator, an emotionally unstable person, represents a potential threat to you, the first responder, and to our greater community. The hazards associated with your duties as first responders were underscored on April 8th at about 9 o'clock in the morning when 2 Pasadena police officers on routine patrol attempted to conduct an enforcement stop on a suspicious vehicle. Without provocation, warning, or cause, the passenger suspect jumped from the car and began running north in a residential neighborhood. In an apparent deliberate act, the suspect produced a semi-automatic pistol and fired several rounds at the pursuing uniformed officer. Fortunately, the officer was not injured by the suspect's gunfire. The officer returned fire, striking the armed suspect and ending this traumatic incident. With an increased frequency, first responders continue to place themselves in harm's way, not for fanfare, recognition, or glory. They simply attempt to discharge their duties without bias, prejudice, or malicious intent. When police officers are killed in a violent act, it captures the attention of the nation, as was the case when several law enforcement officers throughout America were ambushed this year. We can only speculate on the suspects' motives to launch these cowardly acts, but by most accounts, the victims were targeted simply because they wore a law enforcement uniform. Such spineless acts of terror erode the fabric of social order. They shock the conscience of our community. Following the death of a comrade, we honorably acknowledge the loss, console the family, and then go about our duties to protect and to serve. On-duty deaths, regardless of the circumstances, cause anguish grief, and despair for law enforcement and for their families and the community they serve. This year, we have added another Pasadena police officer to our memorial, bringing the total to 7. On December 30th, 1949, Pasadena Police Detective James A. Hand died while on duty. He was assigned to the night shift on that day and spent his meal break with his family, which was his normal practice. During the meal, Detective Hand expressed some concern about an incident that occurred earlier in the shift, but did not elaborate on the circumstances. Following the conclusion of his meal, Detective Hand departed his residence and returned to his duties. About an hour later, he began feeling ill and drove to a local hospital. He walked into the emergency room complaining of chest pain, and an hour later died of an apparent heart attack. Detective Hand was appointed to the Pasadena Police Department as a patrolman January 11th, 1935. He became the head of the Vice Squad in February of 1941 and was promoted to the Detective Bureau in 1942. During his assignment as a night detective, Detective Hand worked many major investigations, receiving numerous commendations about his extraordinary service. Like many of his contemporary police officers, Detective Hand was a lifelong learner. He graduated from Norfolk High School in 1923, attended the United States Military Academy, West Point. He received his degree from the University of Southern California in 1930 before joining the force. He was only 44 years old at his untimely death. He was survived by then his wife, Catherine May, and his 3 children, Roberta, 13, Russell, 8, Eleanor, 22 months. This year it is my privilege to officially honor Detective Hand during the 2016 Police and Fire Memorial Ceremony. The National Police Officer Memorial Day was established by President Kennedy in 1962 and pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty in the protection of others. Our modest annual memorial connects the Pasadena Police Department with other law enforcement agencies throughout the United States who have experienced similar loss. If we are truly desirable of honoring the Pasadena police officers who have sacrificed their life for public safety in our community, then we must celebrate their courage, their dedication, and their passion daily through examples of good citizenship. To the wives, husbands, sons, and daughters left behind when your loved one was killed or died in the line of duty, thank you for your courage and for your support. You alone know the stress associated with loving and losing a first responder. You are our silent heroes. Remember our fallen in your prayers, and for those first responders who continue to serve our community. God bless our first responders. God bless our community. God bless America.
Thank you, Chief Sanchez. Well, good morning. On behalf of Chief Washington and the Pasadena Fire Department, I would like to welcome you to our 5th annual Pasadena Police and Fire Memorial. More importantly, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to honor those police officers and firefighters that have lost their lives in the line of duty as they served here in this community. Being a firefighter and being a part of the fire service is an amazing privilege. Well, what does it mean to be in the fire service? Service defined simply means an act of helpful activity, help, aid. Of course, today, fire really applies to rescue and emergency medical response, not just actual fire response. So fires, traffic collisions, system alarms, service calls, emergency medical response, rescue, and many other types of incidents are just all in the day's work for the Pasadena firefighter. The fire service mission has changed drastically over the years. There have been vast improvements in technology and protective gear. The number of incidents that fire departments respond to have increased significantly as fire departments have expanded their mission. The Pasadena Fire Department is a busy place. Looking at calendar year 2015, we had 19,529 incidents with 38,678 unit responses. The units being the actual engines, trucks, rescue ambulance, and other specialized units that respond to all types of incidents. Of course, these numbers do not include the hundreds of contacts and incidents handled by our firefighters during the many small and large special events that we as a city are privileged to host each year. In addition, our firefighters are engaged in fire prevention, public education, station and apparatus maintenance, training, hydrant maintenance, and much, much more. I began my career with the Pasadena Fire Department Auxiliary Program about 25 years ago. And I do recall that during my orientation, a captain at the time, who's now our retired Chief Calvin Wells, said to me, "In this job, you will experience and see things that you could have never imagined." He was right. In fact, really the most incredible thing I experienced over the years was the demeanor of our firefighters here in Pasadena. Courageous, committed, service-minded are just a few adjectives that I can think of to describe our firefighters. These firefighters that we honor today had these same attributes. We honor them for their courage, commitment, and service. They and their families gave and sacrificed more than any of us could have asked of them. And they served without hesitation. So as we honor them today, let us reflect on their commitment, sacrifice, and service. May they be an example to us and encourage us to give our very best in remembrance of them. And let's not forget in our thoughts and prayers our men and women in public safety that selflessly serve each and every day without hesitation. Thank you.
Let's pray together. Lord, I ask for courage to face and conquer my own fears, courage to take me where others will not go. I ask for strength of body to protect others, and strength of spirit to lead others. I ask for dedication to my job to do it well, dedication to my community to keep it safe. Give me, Lord, concern for others who trust me and compassion for those who need me. And Lord, please, through it all, be at my side.
When called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me strength to save a life, whatever be their age. Help me to embrace the child before it is too late, to save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, to quickly and efficiently put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and give the best in me to guard my every neighbor and protect his property. If according to your will I must lose my life, oh, bless with your protecting hand my children and wife. Amen.
Roll call. Motorcycle Patrolman John T. Slate. End of watch, 1909. Patrolman Clarence E. Peck. End of watch, 1911. Detective James A. Hand. End of watch, 1949. Juvenile Officer Dennis P. Lamar. End of watch, 1961. Sergeant Robert W. Sprague. End of watch, 1964. Agent Richard F. Morris. End of watch, 1969. Officer Kyle R. Ballard. End of watch, 2006.
Last alarm, Hoseman Arthur L. Johnson. Last alarm, 1928. Hoseman Edgar R. Talbin. Last alarm, 1930. Hoseman Daniel Rogers. Last alarm, 1932. Engineer Irwin C. Draper. Last alarm, 1940. Hoseman George Flannery. Last alarm, 1944. Engineer Hobart Surbar, last alarm, 1956. Assistant Chief Donald G. Palmer, last alarm, 1964. Firefighter Henry Solis, last alarm, 1983. Engineer Kevin Moore, last alarm, 2011. I'd like to recognize this morning, we're fortunate and honored enough to have the Moore family and Consuelo with us this morning. I want to thank you and give my respect to you and your family.
I would also like to recognize members of the Hand family, the Morris family, and the Ballard family. And would all our survivors please stand and be recognized?
The 21-gun salute is one of the most ceremonial honors paid to officers that are killed in the line of duty. The 21-gun salute is a sign of respect. Its origins are traced to warfare centuries ago. The salute is standard procedure during military funerals, giving honor to deceased veterans. The 21-gun salute is also used during funerals for law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty, as well as to pay tribute to heads of state and the flag. The 3 volleys come from an old battlefield custom. The 2 warring sides would cease hostilities to clear their dead from the battlefield, and the firing of 3 volleys meant that the dead had been properly cared for and the side was ready to resume battle. The flag detail often slips 3 shell casings into the folded flag before presenting the flag to the family. Each casing represents 1 volley. Just a word of caution, there will be some reports, so you may want to brace yourself for the loud sounds.
The ringing of the bell. Fire service of today is ever-changing, but is steeped in traditions 200 years old. One such tradition is the sound of a bell. In the past, as firefighters began their tour of duty, it was the bell that signaled the beginning of that day's shift. Throughout the day and night, each alarm was sounded by a bell, which summoned these brave souls to fight fires and place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow citizen. And when the fire was out and the alarm had come to an end, it was the bell that signaled to all the completion of that call. When a firefighter had died in the line of duty, paying the supreme sacrifice, it was the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a comrade's passing. We utilize these traditions as symbols which reflect honor and respect on those who have given so much and who have served so well. To symbolize the devotion that these brave souls had for their duty, a special signal of 3 rings, 3 times each, represents the end of our comrades' duties and that they will be returning to quarters. And so, to those who have selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow man, their task completed, their duties well done, to our comrades, their last alarm, they are going home.
Detail, left and right, face, hoop. Footwork, hoop. Footwork, hoop. Left.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Chief Gene Campbell. I want to share some closing remarks. First of all, on behalf of the mayor, council members, both chiefs, Chief Washington, Chief Sanchez, and all the men and women here gathered here today, I want to thank you for coming out, supporting our fallen heroes, their families, and the service of the men and women that go on every day in the city of Pasadena. We know Pasadena is a very busy city, needs dedicated men and women here, and I'm happy to be one of them. What I'd like to do now is I want to honor some members of our council here. I just want to acknowledge them. I'm just going to do it by sight because it blew off. And every day, I'm just going to look out there, and if I miss you, please just raise your hand, and I'll make sure I start with that. Of course, you met our mayor, Mary Tornick, right here. Mayor, you want to wave your hand? Okay, thank you. Terry Tornick. Let's give him a hand. Thank you. Right behind him, Council Member Andy Wilson. Next to him, Council Member Tyron Thompson. Of course, Council Member John Kennedy. Just behind him and to the right of me is Interim City Manager Steve Mermel. Swing over to my left, Assistant City Manager Julie Gutierrez. Some other people that I know in the room are also Department Director Matt Holdsworth, as well as there's some other department directors that I can't see here today. So I want to thank them all for their support and for them being here today. Closing remarks are those remarks of reflection. How did you look at today's event? Were you inspired? Were you hopeful? Were you encouraged? Did it give you a charge to go out tomorrow and think about a career in the fire service, a career in the police department, a career help supporting those who give life to others and help support others throughout your life. I don't know what it might be, but hopefully there's something that inspired you today. Not only to say thank you to others with a smile, with a handshake, with a little encouragement that will help them get through the day as we move throughout our busy lives. I also wanted to honor our chaplains. Can they both raise their hands? Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for your support and your prayers. And I also want to thank our beautiful singer. Can we give her a hand for singing those beautiful words for us today? And lastly, as we always look to our youth for the hope of tomorrow, let's give a big hand for our choir that came up today. So with that, the next voice you will hear will be the leader of our troops, who will dismiss us in the proper manner. Good afternoon.